that it's better to do what you can rather than do nothing at all. Hello everyone, today I am rendering lard. This is a project that I put off for a long time because I honestly don't enjoy the process, but we're gonna get it done. One thing that would make it easier, I've always heard it said that you should have your butcher grind your lard. Ours don't offer that without an upcharge, and so I've never done that. Someday I would love to invest in a meat grinder for this, but for today we are just going to chop it relatively small. I'm not gonna be too fussy with it. Last time I rendered lard, I did run it through the food processor grinder. That took absolutely forever and was a giant pain in the butt. So I'm not gonna go that route again. I'm just gonna chop it small and render it like that. Today I'm gonna be working with back fat. Normally when you get your pork, you will get two kinds of fat. You'll get the leaf fat and the back fat. And you do wanna keep these separate because the pork back fat will have a more distinct pork flavor. And then the leaf fat is a lot more mild. So when you're cooking, there are applications that are better for leaf fat, like maybe cookies or something like that, versus your back fat, which could be used in a more savory dish. I have so much that I doubt I'm gonna get through it all today. And as you can see, chopping this up will take quite a while. I'm not gonna be too fussy with the chunks. If you really want solidly shelf-stable lard, then I would be much more careful about not cutting any corners. So I would probably want it finely ground and probably render it more than once, just to make sure you get all the moisture out. The last batch I did, I think I must have had some moisture left over because they did start to get a little bit moldy on the shelf after a few months. So this time what I'm gonna do, since I really don't have the equipment or the time to be very fussy with how I render my lard, this time I am going to freeze it. So I'm gonna put it in pints and I'm gonna freeze it, and that way I don't have to spend all day long trying to get this ground fine, days really, trying to render it more than once. And I won't have to stress about using it in a timely manner. Here I've got a crock pot. This is the easiest method that I've found for rendering the lard. Now adding a little bit of water in the bottom, I've learned is controversial. Some people really recommend it so that you don't accidentally scorch your lard when you put it in, but it does increase the amount of rendering you have to do because you're trying to get all the moisture out of here. So I guess it's really just personal preference. Since I am not worried about making shelf-stable lard this time, I guess it won't be the end of the world if we do end up with a little bit of water in ours, but it is something to keep in mind. If I were going to pay really close attention to this and I wanted it to be shelf-stable, I would probably just hang out here and stir it until it starts to get melty, and then it probably won't burn. The water really just aids the beginning process. Now I'm gonna walk away for a while and just leave it to do its own thing, and I'm gonna come back and stir it maybe in like 30 minutes and just stir it every 30 minutes until it is all melted down. Also, obviously I'm doing this outside. It will stink your house up, and I guess some people don't mind the smell. I kind of don't like it, and I think I'm gonna have to render lard for a few days, and I don't want my house to smell like lard for a long time. So we're outside. We're about an hour and a half in. I have stirred this a couple times. I can hear that it's really starting to get melty down there now. And as it starts to melt, it also makes more room in the pot. I am gonna see if I can get some more lard in here. Whoops, I lost a couple. This might be a little ambitious here, but I'm gonna have to do more batches either way. I think that's about all the lard I plan to add to this one today. Okay, I'm gonna give that another while to soften, and then I'll come in and I'll try to stir that in and get it cooking as well. Towards the end, I will take this lid off for a while and let some water evaporate, but for right now, this is okay. It has been 12 hours. This did take a little bit longer than I thought it would, and it's still not really done, but I'll explain that in a minute. All right, you can see that we have quite a bit of liquid here. However, we also still have quite a few chunks of fat that are just taking a really long time to break down. That's what happens when it's not finely ground. Now, if you are going for totally shelf-stable lard, this is not an option for you, and you do need to take this to the bitter end. If you take it all the way to the end, that's often when you get cracklings on top, the crispy bits that you can fry up, and some people really love those. It's a delicacy. However, ours is going to get frozen, and I need to be finished for today. This does feel a tad wasteful, but we honestly don't cook that much with lard. And the alternative is it just sitting in our freezer. So this is how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna strain this here into our funnels. And there is one. That got me close to 5 pints. We did discard quite a bunch, but my philosophy is that it's better to do what you can rather than do nothing at all. So in a perfect world, I would be able to use every part of the animal, but sometimes you are on time constraints and life is just life, and the option is either doing a little bit or doing none of it. So this is a good compromise for me. Perhaps you will have better luck, you know, perhaps you're in a different season, but this is how I do lard, and I'm okay with it. Like I said, the biggest advantage is probably if you can get your lard ground. That would speed up the process so much more. But if you just need to keep it really simple and you just want to get a little bit of lard, this will do it for you. Anyway, thank you for joining. Once again, we are burning the midnight oil. So I am going to leave these out tonight. They're just gonna sit on the counter and cool. Once they cool, they will turn a white color, and they'll solidify, and it'll look nice. So I'm just gonna leave them here on the counter. They're gonna cool overnight, and then tomorrow morning, I will put them in the freezer once they're nice and room temp. All right, I hope you all have a great weekend. I might not be around as much this weekend because I am going on a women's retreat, which is a much needed getaway, and I'm so excited. But I will be back next Wednesday with another week of videos and an Azure haul. So I will see you all then. Bye.